Are you ready to explore a fascinating theory and a thought-provoking interpretation between Christ, the Bible, and human physiology? Are you ready to delve deep into why your body really is a temple and why you can find God within? Okay everyone, let's start off with breaking this theory down in a simple way. So as you can see, this is the human body. So if we focus on our brain for a moment, if we can imagine this being elements within the brain, this is of course no accurate representation of the brain of course, but I'm trying to break this theory down in simple terms, given the brain is the most complex system anyway of course. And this outline you see here is just a visual outline of a human body. So firstly you have the claustrum, and the claustrum secretes an oil that flows to the pineal gland and to the pituitary gland. The theory suggests that these two glands are deemed as the male and female and represent Joseph and Mary of the physical body, who are the parents of the spiritual son that is ready to be born in the solar plexus of every single human being, which we will come on to shortly. The theory is that this oil is a sacred oil and is identified as the Christ, the Christos, or the chrism. And when this sacred oil flows into the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, it transitions from the oil that was initially within the claustrum. In the pineal gland, this oil becomes yellow and has electric properties. And the oil within the pituitary gland is milk-like and has magnetic properties. The theory suggests that this is the land that flows milk and honey referred to in the Bible. Genesis 32:30 states, "So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, I saw the God face to face and lived to tell the story." Right, let's now add in the human vertebrae in the spinal column, of which there are 33 bones. The number 33 is an interesting number. Jesus Christ was 33 when he was crucified. In Hinduism, there are 33 deities in the Vedic pantheon, and 33 categories of deities in the Tantra tradition. In ancient Egypt there are 33 degrees of initiation in the mysteries of the Assyrian cycle of the temples. In Freemasonry, the highest level of spirituality is the 33rd degree. Let's continue building and now add in the solar plexus, or the sacred plexus if you like. The theory suggests that the solar plexus is the spiritual room for men and women. The solar plexus is deemed the manger, or the Bethlehem, for it's the place where the divine bread or holy seed is formed in the physical body. But what do we mean by that? Well, in Hebrew, Beth means house, and Lehem means bread, and Jesus was born in Bethlehem, and Jesus said, "I am the bread of life." As per the Gospel of John chapter 6 verse 35, Jesus used this metaphorical language to explain that just as bread nourishes and sustains physical life, he offers spiritual nourishment to those who believe in him. Divine bread and divine seed are both considered sacred and are both intertwined in their importance in religious and spiritual context. Now let's add the sacrum, and of course, these parts of the human anatomy have been given names that are extremely interesting in itself. Sacrum being sacred, the holy bone if you like. Moving on, let's now add the semilunar ganglia pneumogastric nerve, i.e. the vagus nerve, which the theory suggests is the tree of life, whose branches or nerves are referred to as Nazareth. The actual origins of the name Nazareth is uncertain, but it is believed to be likely related to the Hebrew word Notzeret, meaning branch or sprout if you like, which is also a fascinating interpretation in itself. Right, so now it's going to start getting exciting. So as we mentioned earlier, the sacred oil flows from the central claustrum to the pineal and pituitary gland. So from the pineal and the pituitary gland, the sacred oil travels down the pneumogastric nerve, i.e. the vagus nerve, or the tree of life, and flows down the spinal cord. These two amazing oils enter the solar plexus, which is deemed the spiritual room of the human body, and it combines with the Holy Ghost or holy breath, which can be interpreted as meditation or pranayama even. When this breath is breathed into the holy body, combined with the jewel holy oil, a sacred seed is born, and this sacred seed or divine bread can be born on a monthly basis under the right conditions, including the right astrological conditions, but we won't get into that bit now. An interesting theory is that this process of the sacred oil flowing down the claustrum to the solar plexus is where Santa Claus is derived from. The center claustrum, or Santa Claus, comes down the chimney with his special gifts, i.e. the sacred oil. The sacred oil flowing down the spinal cord is also symbolised as the River of Jordan, which ends in the Dead Sea, i.e. the solar plexus. As mentioned earlier, the solar plexus is also deemed the manger, or Bethlehem. As we mentioned before, Beth means house, and Lehem means bread, where the spiritual son is born. Connected to the pineal gland is the Pingala nerve. Connected to the pituitary gland is a nerve called Ida. Interestingly, these two nerves are one of three of the main energy channels, or nadis, in the yoga tradition. In parallel to the tree of life, these nerves flow down the spinal cord where they meet through the semi-lunar ganglion and merge with the solar plexus. Combined with the holy breath, the sacred spiritual seed is born, or the Christ, or Christos even. And spiritual energy that has been generated carries the spiritual seed back up the spinal cord, or the Jacob's ladder, or the stairway to heaven even, via the Ida and Pingala nerves, which you can see here in blue and purple. The theory also interprets this process as Christ is born, i.e. the spiritual seed, and baptized on the River Jordan, travelling up the spinal cord, and heaven is about to open above the River Jordan, which we will come on to now. So now the spiritual seed or the Christ has travelled up the River Jordan, or the Jacob's ladder even, via the Ida and Pingala nerves, and reaches the medulla oblongata at the base of the skull. At this point the Christ, or the holy seed, reaches a double cross made by the Ida, Pingala and pneumogastric nerves. So here, once it has climbed the 33 vertebrae, between this double cross the spiritual seed is crucified. What is interesting here is Jesus was crucified at the age of 33. And by all means, this crucifixion between the nerves does not mean death. It means its energy is raised 1,000-fold. You can compare it in a similar way to how commercial oil or petrol is refined to create energy. When this holy oil is crucified, it remains within the cerebellum, i.e. the tomb, for 2.5 days, which is the moon's period within a star sign. The 2.5 days is very similar to the period Jesus spent in his tomb following crucifixion and resurrection. That was 3 days. On the third day, the refined sacred oil descends to the pineal gland, and at that moment the seed illuminates the body in glory. The illumination of consciousness, the resurrection, the higher state, enlightenment, our true being. It's quite a gift from Santa really. You are amazing. Now believe it or not, this was just a high level summary. There's a lot more to this theory, to the point people have actually written books, and there's a lot on Google on this. Thank you very much everyone, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do hit that like button and subscribe, and we will see you next time.